Here's a story that you may have heard before. It's called The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, in a land far away, a long, long time ago, there lived an emperor. And this emperor, he had one thing that he loved more than anything else. He loved clothes. And he had different clothes for almost every day of the week. He had a lovely red robe. He had a yellow robe. He had a green robe. And he had a blue robe, and yet despite that he still wanted lots and lots more. And so he decided to run a competition, and the winners of the competition, well, the emperor thought that these two, and they were brothers, were the best tailors he had ever seen. But you know, they weren't. They were tricksters. And they set to work in the castle in a room. But you know, they never did any work. Sometimes the people in the village would try to look through the window, but they could never see anything. And that's because nothing was ever happening. As I said to you, they were tricksters. All they would do was eat the best food and sleep in the softest beds. But one day they said, I know what we'll do. They said, we have a very cunning plan. We will fool everybody. And so they announced that the emperor's new robe was nearly ready. But you could only see it if you were really clever. Now, is everybody here really clever? Put your hands up if you're really clever. Okay. Only clever people can actually see this robe. That's what the tricksters said. Would you like to see the emperor's lovely new robe? Remember, you can only see it if you're really, really clever. So here we are. Here's the emperor's new robe. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can all see that beautiful robe. Look at the lovely peacock colours and that yellow. Isn't that gorgeous? You can all see it, can't you? Oh, good. Well, I'm going to let you into a secret. You see, the emperor wasn't very clever. And when he looked at himself in the mirror, he couldn't see anything at all. And he had a horrible suspicion that there wasn't a robe there. But of course, you can all see it, can't you? Because you're really clever. That's good. And the other thing was, he was always cold. So he decided to have another robe made. And so he decided to ask the court magician. And he said, this is the room you're going to work in. And of course, there was nothing in the room at all. And so the magician set to work. Now I have to tell you something else. The magician wasn't very good at being a magician. He was always turning people into frogs, and his wand was always exploding. He really was a very poor magician. And so he said to the emperor, what would you like me to dress you in? And the emperor said, I don't care how you dress me, as long as people stand and stare at me. And so the magician went to work. And a week later, he said to the emperor, by magic, I've made another robe for you. Would you like to see it? If I take it out and show you. This is the new dress that he had made for the emperor. And when the emperor saw it, he was furious. He said, I told you to dress me. I didn't say I wanted to wear a dress. And the magician said, but you said everybody was to stare at you. Yes, well, they'll all stare at me now. Listen, you've got 1 week, said the emperor. You make me a new robe, and if you don't, I'll boil you in oil and chop your head off. Well, the poor magician, he thought, what on earth am I going to do? So he decided to have a look at all the different robes in the emperor's wardrobe to see if he could get a clever idea for a new design. So he looked at the red one, he looked at the yellow, he looked at the green one, and he looked at the blue one, and suddenly he thought he had a very clever idea. He was going to use magic to make the new robe. Now, you know that magic always happens in secret, so we'll put it over there. And if we waved a magic wand, and if you all said abracadabra, do you think the magician can actually make it work? If we take the picture, turn it round, look at that, there is the emperor's new robe, beautiful design with a lovely dragon all over it, and that is the story of the emperor's new clothes.